Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Back with another review for you. And the film that we will be talking about today is The Strangers, Chapter 2. This film is rated R for language and bloody violence. Film runs in at 1 hour, 36 minutes, and is classified as a horror, mystery, thriller film. Here on this show, we like to call that the trifecta of awesome, man. The title there gives it away. This is the sequel to The Strangers, Chapter 1 that released last year, and is the second film in the trilogy that they're putting out with The Strangers, Chapter 3, scheduled to release early next year. They shot the films all at one time, man. So, pretty interesting concept and idea there to do all those movies at the same time. Of course, Strangers franchise is very well loved by a lot of people. It's reached that iconic status. The original film starring Liv Tyler, they released Strangers Pray at Night. Hopefully, got the name right. Which was a good movie as well. And then mixed reviews for that one, but I enjoyed that movie. And then we've got these new ones. And of course, again, mentioned the beloved iconic status, cult status of the first film, which I think hurt The Strangers Chapter 1 because that movie is primarily the same film as The Strangers, just in certain areas. I was okay with it. I liked Madeleine's performance in that movie, of course. She is the best part of that movie. By all means, did a good job with the tension and terror that the Strangers franchise is known for. And had its issues. I wasn't really a big fan of the fiance character and all that stuff in that movie, but I was okay with that movie and all that stuff. Going into this one, I was a little more excited because it's going to be its own story, right? Again, first film, Chapter 1, was much like the original Strangers film that came out. Chapter 2, we're doing a new area and we're going in. Like I just mentioned, these movies were shot at the same time, so they're building storyline. So I was interested to see how Chapter 2 unfolds. And, no spoilers, of course, but it starts off where we pretty much left off with the last film, as it should, where we are in the hospital with Madeleine's character. And a good portion of that movie, like classic horror films, takes place in the beginning of the film in the Halloween. I'm bringing up Halloween because, like Halloween 2, not Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, even though it had a hospital scene, but that was a nightmare scene, and not Halloween 2018, which is technically Halloween 2 as well. Talking about the classic Halloween 2, 81, early 80s, that one came out, which is primarily all in the hospital. This how this movie starts. A good portion of the beginning of the film is in the hospital, where we got some rebuilding with the character, a lot of flashback scenes going on, which to be expected, story building, connecting you again with what happened, all this stuff. Maybe a little too much flashbacking going on in this movie, but I didn't hate it. I know that's one of the big things that a lot of people complain about with the movie is too many flashback scenes. I didn't really run into that. There is a good portion of them, but I understood what they were doing in the storytelling. And this is a character that's been through a lot of trauma, right? Like she was just freaking stalked and saw her spoilers for the first film, but saw her fiance get killed right in front of her and all this stuff. She's a very traumatized character. She's just went through these events because remember, this is the ongoing storyline, all that stuff. So there's traumatic events and things that are running through her head that's going to flash back to these scenes, and it's telling a good story of her trauma that she's gone through. So I didn't run into an issue with the flashbacks in that sense. Maybe a little too much, but I didn't hate it, right? But we're doing with that, and then of course the terror and aspect and all that, and the suspense of what the Strangers franchise is known for builds throughout the whole Halloween again hospital sequence that we go through there. And then as we progress through the movie and the areas we end up going in and all this stuff, it still stays very tension heavy, which you would expect from these films. Again, Madeleine, fantastic, man. Love her. Love her performance she's been given. She's a fun character, man. Like I've seen a lot of interviews with her, and she's just a good time, fun person, somebody you would want to hang out with, and all that good stuff. And I think her performance really plays out fantastically throughout this film. The range of emotions she's doing. Again, we talked about the trauma she's gone through, the acts of violence she's got to go through, and all of these movies. Can't wait to see what they end up doing in Chapter 3 with her. But the stuff she's had to go through, the tension, the running, the action scenes. Like this is a very much a chasey movie. Like there's chase scenes galore. We've got to do hiding and all this stuff. Like if you're playing a horror video game or whatever, right? So you gotta, you're getting chased around. You gotta hide over here and all that stuff. So they do a good job with that stuff and a good job with tension. The story's fine and all that. Like there is a random moment that happens in the middle of the film where it's like, okay, would have never expected that to happen. Get it. Interesting. Don't know if we necessarily needed it. I think our character's gone through enough to where we don't need that random thing happening. But I get it. It was weird. I'm not gonna hold buttons here. It was a weird scene that I would have never expected to have happened. Would never came, but I guess it makes sense with the situation that she's in and the area she's in and all that stuff. I'm okay with it. We get flashbacks of the other characters in this movie as well, which again, maybe that's where we're running into issues with flashbacks, is there is a lot of flashbacks. Again, I don't care about them with Madeline's character. With the other characters, maybe you run into some issues and all that stuff, especially if you don't really want to, feel anything for the strangers, if you will. So I can see, a little bit of a battle back there. Again, that's been the huge argument a lot of people have had with Rob Zombie's Halloween is they didn't want a backstory. They didn't want to know anything about the characters and all that stuff. They don't want to know about the killer. They just like the killer being scary. I didn't have a problem with that. I like Rob Zombie's Halloween a lot. But this movie, I guess I did run into that a little bit. I'm like, I don't know if we necessarily need that. I get it. Those flashbacks played a little bit too long for me. So I get you there. I get the storytelling aspect of it. I get what they were doing. I get what they wanted to do with it. But those went on a little bit too long. The stuff with Madeleine's character and her flashbacks, perfectly fine. They make perfect sense. Those characters, well, now that I talk about it, it does make sense for what those characters. Well, we didn't really need it either, though. It makes sense for one scene. Like one scene, it makes sense for me when it comes to those characters. But the other scene, not so much. So you get that aspect in there storyline wise that probably could have, been okay without having. Um, but everything else I was kind of okay with, man. I enjoyed this movie a good bit. I had a good time with it. It's got mixed reviews. I've seen people say it's much better than Chapter One, which I agree. I would say it's definitely better than Chapter One. There's other people saying it's worse than Chapter One. I don't agree with that, but I feel like people are just set out to hate anything that has to do with remake or rebooting or retooling or reimagining or anything like that. Like that's something people run into no matter what the movie is, whether it's a horror film. Just mention Rob Zombie's Halloween. People hate it because the stuff he decided to do with that movie. But they love The Thing, which is a remake. So, what can you do? What can you really do with these remakes and all that stuff? I think people personally just hate anything that gets remade, which is, it's a concept I've never understood. Honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, why? Why are you mad that they're doing it? They're like, how dare they touch this? As if they're touching the original film to erase it or take away anything from that original film still exists, especially if you own physical media. You got it over there in your DV case. Pull it out, man. Watch that Blu-ray whenever you want and all that stuff. Maybe it's streaming somewhere, maybe it's not. Another reason why you should buy physical, because might not be streaming somewhere. But nonetheless, The Strangers Chapter 2 was entertaining for me. I think they did a good job with the tension building in there. Again, Madeleine, fantastic actress. Can't wait to see more stuff with her in it. And I'm excited to see what Chapter 3 ends up doing, man. Obviously, that film set to release early next year. I don't know if we have an actual release date for it yet. I think they're just saying early next year at this point, but it's already been shot. Like it's already been done and all that stuff. And these people making these films, I don't think are as incompetent as Warner Brothers to where they'll take films that have already been shot and be like, we're not going to release it. They'll probably still release it and all that stuff. But I've enjoyed both these movies, man. Like I don't see the area of issue with the movies. I think the first one, the Chapter 1 film, was met with a lot of hate because how much people love the first Strangers film and they overly judged it. Um, Chapter 2, I think, is better than that one. I like what they did in this movie. Again, certain things I don't need, but you're going to run into that with most movies. I mean, think most movies you watch, you're going to run into at least something. You're like, oh, maybe I didn't need that. But there are some movies that are absolutely perfect and all that stuff where you wouldn't change anything. But sometimes you run into those things. And I think I mentioned it when I was talking about the Friday the 13th review that I just put out. Check that out here on this YouTube channel. I think we are overly critical nowadays about films and, especially how things go and all this stuff, man. Back then, you watched a Friday the 13th film, like you just want to watch a movie to enjoy a movie. And I think we need to get back to that process of watching a movie to enjoy. If you didn't like it, that's perfectly fine. I'm not saying you have to like every single movie that comes out. That's perfectly fine if you didn't like it. But I don't think we should beat up people if they did like the movie either. Like if you enjoyed a thing, let them enjoy the freaking movie, man. And I personally enjoyed this movie a good bit. I thought the tension was fantastic. Madeleine's performance was fantastic. Hopefully saying her name right. If you're watching this, I don't know how we got here, but appreciate you watching it. But I like what she did, and again, she's fantastic in both movies. She's fantastic. Can't wait to see what she does in Chapter 3. Can't wait to see what she does in the future and all that stuff with other roles and all that stuff. Give me her as Poison Ivy. Why not? Who says no? But I think the trilogy runs on her and her performance. And if you go in there and just watch it and give it a good time and just watch her performance, there's no way that I mean, you can hate it if you want to hate it. It's your prerogative, but I don't think you can hate her performance. She's putting her heart through all these movies. Again, I was talking about an interview I watched with her, and I love that she said, if the movie does bad, it's all on me because I'm taking this responsibility for this trilogy and all this stuff. I love that, man. Love the fact that she said that and all that stuff. And to me, I've enjoyed both films so far. I think this one is better than the first one again, but I've enjoyed both films excited to see what Chapter 3 ends up bringing, to see where that goes. As far as credit scenes, there's a mid-credits teaser trailer that teases Chapter 3, much like freaking Back to the Future back in the day. Remember, if you've seen Back to the Future 2, at the end there, they do a teaser for Back to the Future 3 and all this stuff, which is interesting, which is a fun little thing. So for me, let's round it out here and close out this review. I like The Strangers Chapter 2 a good bit. Some things I could have done without, but overall, left the theater with a positive experience. Thought they did what they needed to do with it to set up to where we're going to end up going with Chapter 3 and see how all that all unfolds and all that stuff, man. But personally, I liked it. I'm going to open it up. Comments are open if you want to talk about if you like the movie or not. Go ahead and go for it. But keep it civil, keep it calm, keep it nice, and all that stuff, man. But that is my thoughts on The Strangers Chapter 2 that is currently playing in theaters, man. We will be back with more reviews, of course. Obviously, going to try to go see the American Werewolf in London release. We'll see how that works out. Tron, what is this movie called? Tron Ares? I think that's what it's called. Tron. Going to try to go see that and have a spoiler-free review for you. It is also back in theaters. I like that movie a good bit. Might try to go see that. And again, love what Regal's doing with these 31 Days of Halloween horror films that they're putting out there. But yeah, other than that, we're going to keep doing things as we're doing. It's like to always remind you, you matter, man. You're capable, incredible things. Trust yourself, believe in yourself, chase those dreams, man. They'll be right there for you as long as you're believing in them. Put that energy out there, man. Maybe a door will open that you weren't expecting to open, but it's going to be a good one as long as you believe in yourself, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and keep fighting for yourself, man. Appreciate you taking the time to listen to this review. I like the film. If you didn't like it, I'm sorry. But that's going to do it for this review. Talk to you next review.